Welcome to the Encouragement Engineering Podcast, where we help people to combat the negativity that inundates our daily lives with a positive perspective and positive action. Today's guest is Nick Drivas. Growing up through his teenage years and early 20s, our guest had no confidence, was always walked all over by others, and felt weak as a man. After a 10-year long personal addiction struggle, he was able to dig himself out with the help of a coach that offered him discipline and blueprints of habits that changed his life. Now, Nick teaches others the benefits of you developing through discipline and daily habits of fitness, mindset, and nutrition. And he's here to share that with us. So please welcome to the show, Nick Drivas. Nick, thanks for taking the time today. I really appreciate you being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, great. If we can, let's tell people about you and how you got to where you are. I wanted to give some vague details about where you came from, but I want you to, break it down for people. How did you get to where you are today?
100%. So to get right into it, at 12 years old, I started developing a pornography addiction. It led me down this spiral, just rabbit hole throughout my teen years, and it messed up my confidence when I would try to perform, especially just with women overall, or just in general, like social anxiety, for instance. When I would be out in public, I had no social skills, nothing of the sort. And I was always on purpose. I always had a vision. I was trying to do basketball at the time. I was trying to be an NBA player throughout my teen years. But the problem is that I had vices in the way, and it diminished everything that I was doing.
Okay.
So I had the consistency. I had consistency with what I was doing, whatever that may be. And the problem was I was attached to a vice. So it was holding me back to actually gaining that level of success in whatever I was actually trying to achieve. So throughout my teen years, it was basketball. I never actually even made the school team. I would always come up short. And I came to the realization it was because I never had the belief and confidence to actually be on that school team. So the same thing happened to me. I was trying to do YouTube when I was in college. I literally went like crazy rich, dropped out of college after a semester. I developed like very suicidal thoughts. I had depression and anxiety was mixed every freaking day. I was driving to the local school. It was like it's called here in New York, a SUNY school, so a state university school.
Okay.
So it was like not far from me, like a 10-15 minute drive. And every freaking day, I would just be like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this, like meaning on this earth anymore at this point. So I had a very dark cloud, especially when I'd be walking into the classroom and everybody looking at me, especially. So, I'm like 19, 20 years old now, and I'm still having that social anxiety from these vices that I'm going through. Also, junk food was a big one. So I wind up dropping out. I start to work on myself. I start to find purpose. I blow up on TikTok. I gained like 700,000 followers in the span of like 6 months, doing just like fitness workouts. And the problem is that 700,000 was actually not like a real 700,000 people. It was like the robots and fake followers, basically a little bit of real people in there, but it didn't wind up working out. And at that time I was on purpose. So I stopped the pornography, bad food. I'm in purpose mode when it blows up. And then I start to see nothing's working again. And I'm like, man, no income is coming, nothing at all. So I go back to the vices. So I never really had a consistency problem, as you can hear already. So I always was consistent with whatever I did. But I noticed when I was not on purpose mode, I could not get anything like to actually hit that next level of success. So I wound up again going into a depression. No, I see like no income is coming in. I don't have a job at this point. I quit my job. I'm not in school, nothing. So now I'm like 21. I'm 23 at this very moment. And then I hit rock bottom. I hit rock bottom so hard. I'm doing all these vices, porn, not drugs. I was never into like drugs or alcohol, but like eating, not taking care of myself. I'm overweight, and I decided to make a change finally. My consciousness is calling me, hey, you got to wake up. You got to like take action immediately. And I was like, okay, I got to do this. So I invest into a coach. He shows me the blueprint for how all this works when it came to dieting, building muscle, losing weight. And then just from there, in a span of 3 months, I was able to drop like 30 pounds. And you can see the transformation on my Instagram. Like in 3 months, like I'm ripped. Like just badass. I'm looking. So that whole journey, it goes way deeper, but just for the sake of time, like I never had really a consistency problem. My thing is that I was always attached to a vice that was holding me back to my higher calling or my higher self.
And wow. Well, one, I'm glad you're getting past that. We'll say present tense, because I know it's always an effort. You're always doing something. There's always that chance of something coming back. But it's a mindset too, I think, that people need to understand. They could have the same thing and not realize they even have it. How did you get, did your coach point that out to you, or was it a little bit of reflection on yourself? How did you get that mindset to see that, to be able to overcome that? Because, that overcoming attitude is a big one.
I would say it's definitely both along just the span of the timeline. Like it's a realization for me, and then getting guidance from somebody who was actually ahead of me to say, hey, Nick, like this is what's going on in your life. This is how we're gonna fix it. So that's what I do for my guys, because they won't be able to see that. They'll have their blocks on themselves.
Yep.
Just how I do. Like my coaches have to guide me in the right direction,
Right.
and say like, hey, Nick, like stop that negative mindset that you have currently. Like why are you making it about yourself? Like that's a common one.
Okay.
Like, why are you're being so selfish and so entitled? Like it's like, oh, I can't, work out today because I have to work 60 hours this week,
Right.
like something like that. And I'm like, okay, so you have the most like common problem on this planet. Like
Yeah.
you're being so entitled right now. Like that's how I am with my guys. And it's like everybody else out here has to work, 60 plus hours a week, for the month, or 40, whatever, like
Yeah.
depending on what you do. But like that's the thing. They're being so selfish and making it so much about them, and think like it's only about you. No, like other people have this problem too. So seeing it through different lenses, like a big thing that I was able to massively progress very fast. So mind you, from me going from like overweight to shredded, that was 3 months. That was all the way back from July 27th to early November of 2022. So ever since then, up to now, so it's been a span of almost 11, 12 months. 12 months we're coming on now. And it's pretty crazy of how much I've been able to progress, because I'm just not doing the vices and the stuff to constantly move me forward.
Well, and that's a big thing too. I mean, you think about, your mental acuity for that, as well as your fitness acuity, because that plays a big part on both. It does help you, when you start eating right, when your physical body is in better shape, your mind gets clearer. You're not prone to some of that negative cloudiness that can come into our lives on a daily basis. What's one of the big things that you did to keep you moving forward, I guess, is a big question. That, how did you do that to keep moving forward? Because everybody runs across something that's going to stumble them up. How do you keep that motivation? How do you keep going forward with this?
It's that self-talk. Like it's literally in those moments of those tests from the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. Like that's how I think about this, is that above is just testing me. It wants to see, Nick, how bad do you want this?
Right.
And I just say, I'm going to get it done. This doesn't affect me. I can get this, whatever it is, I'll figure out a way. Like that, when I get hit with whatever it is, like for instance, I got hit with a big payment, like $4,000 on my car last year. This was like when I first started doing like with my coach and the personal development, taking it so seriously. I was driving home from the gym, bam, windshield,
Wow.
like the hood hits the windshield, smash car, like everything. I wasn't able to use insurance with my car to cover it. So I had to come out of pocket. It was like a week's worth of work to do even on the car. So it hit my bank account. And then even to get to the gym was like a whole like different ball game that I had to go around. I had to use like parents' card for the moment just to get to the gym. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just gonna like just sleep in and all these things.
Right.
I
Right.
still did my like I have a non-negotiable daily process I do. Like
Wow.
my 4 a.m. wake up, that early workout, all these things and macros still did it. I didn't let, that instance affect me with what I was doing, that accident.
That's good. I mean, that's something that I think a lot of people can take heart of. That is that I love that non-negotiable daily processes that you do.
Yep.
We need to make sure we have non-negotiables. I understand that same thing. My 4:30 the alarm goes off, whether I'm local at home, working at home, or working at an office. It's that time, and you get up and you say your prayer, you be thankful, that gratitude first thing in the morning. You take some time for yourself to breathe, to exercise, to do the things you need to do. It sets your day off properly and sets your mindset in the right direction. Those are some great tips for that. Now, you mentioned you're 23. Okay, you're fairly young. Do people tend to treat you differently because you're younger? Like, oh, what do you know? Or overlook some of the ideas you have? I mean, but I guess part of the thing I look at that is, okay, look at me as I'm young because, you know, I still have the knowledge. How do you overcome that?
Yeah, so that's a common one that I run into. And usually I just look at the man's habits. Like
Mm-hmm.
habits make a man.
Yeah.
So if their habits are out of whack, like that, you're just putting your own insecurities onto me.
Yeah.
Like when you say that, oh, you're young, what do you know? Like your ego is so fat, like it's disgusting. Like all that I'm on is literally creating the man that I admire in all ways and offering to the world. So it doesn't matter if I'm 23 or I'm 45 doing this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like people don't see that, and that's because they're not in alignment. Because I know somebody who's actually about change, wants to be in alignment, all these things, they won't look at me and be like, oh, he's 23. What does he know? Like, they just want the change. They want to feel better about themselves. They want to look and feel their best, because I know like that was me literally 11 months ago. I felt weak. I felt depressed. I didn't want to be here, all these things. And then I didn't care that my coach, he was like 27 or 28,
Mm-hmm.
and he just looked the part, like he was shredded,
Yeah.
you know? So I was like, it was more off of just how I felt. I didn't feel like the man. Like I felt lost in life. I didn't know what I wanted to do. But then I
Mm.
went to him, and then I gained that self-belief, that confidence from me just working on myself every day, getting the reps and stacking the wins, getting the meals, the workouts, and just focusing on those reps and really tapping into myself. Like that's what I'm saying. Like people will see, that's the thing. They're not even at that level of awareness.
Right. Right.
So
And,
they can't
and
even they can't even relate. We're
yeah.
two
Well, and you
different
brought up
versions.
a good point, whether you realize you said it or not. You wanted the results. You didn't care about the age of the person, what they look like, all that. And I hear you. If somebody's got results, if they've got a good head, good heart, I don't care what color the skin is. I don't care what country they come from. Do they have the results? Whether are they a good person doing what, I want to achieve? That's a person you want to follow. That's a person you want to learn from. Um, because they've experienced it and they have the results that you want to achieve as well. So that's a great point for people. I think we need to realize that too, that our value intrinsically is so great. We can do great things. You're the type of person that you're starting to see that, even though it's been a year and you probably have it ingrained in you now, but the value you have is so great that you're going to continue to make your body better. You're going to continue to make your mind better because of the value it offers our world. And that's a great encouragement for our listeners. I think they can learn a lot from that from you. So great kudos to you. I mean, that's a great job.
Thank you.
Keep
Thank
it
you.
up. Keep
Thank
it
you.
up. What would you say three things what are three things you would tell yourself, you know, um, to get your life in order, whether from your younger self or something you might coach people that helps them to get their life in order?
The first one would be definitely average is the punishment for the weak.
Ah,
So anybody that comes onto my team, anybody in general, like we are not born to be average. We are not born to be overweight, like all,
right.
all these things, feel depressed, weak, not confident in ourselves, not show up. in a room and be like, oh, he's here.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you want to light up a room. An average person, they're not going to walk into a room and light up that room. So again, average is a punishment for the weak. That would be the first one, I would say. Like, we're not born or meant to be average. Anybody that's listening, anybody out here, 7-8 billion people, like, we're not meant to be that. That's what I think in my head. Everybody has the same potential that I have compared to the dude down the street, compared to you, but like, everybody has the same potential. That's the first one. The second one I would also say is what I just said, like, create the man you admire and offer him to the world. Like, you have to become that individual first, that 10.0 self, because that's what I work on with my guys, to build into that 10.0 self through the actions and habits that you do on a daily basis. Like, what is that 10.0 version of you? What's that man or woman? You know, I work with whoever. So it's like, how do you operate on a daily basis? What's your wake up time? Do you track your macros? Do you go to the gym? Do you work out intensely in the gym? Do you, when you're hit with a negative situation, are you reactive or are you proactive? So those are certain, what do you look like? Like, what's your hairstyle? Do you have a tan year round? You know, do you, like, little sophisticated things. So that's the next thing. Because when you create the best man possible or woman, then you're able to hit it in so many different areas instead of just like hitting it from one area. And you're just like, you're going to be massive for this world because people are going to need you.
Right. And that's a great point right there. People got to realize people need you. Your value in this world is bigger than you realize. Another great reminder for people, you guys got to listen to more of his stuff. So we're going to post, what his contact information out there, but I just want to make sure people are hearing this. You got some good stuff here, so keep it up. What's another one? What's that third one?
I would say light always shines out darkness.
Yeah.
So this one really, because I know we were talking about this before, is I've been in such dark places, especially even these past 11, 12 months being on this journey so far. And that one specifically was, I was going through a lot stuff with just business and just the work itself. And I got tested like hard, like after I got ripped, and I was like, yo, should I stop doing this? Like the whole business, everything. Because I was hit with the opportunity to actually be a part of like a coaching like program and be like their fitness coach, and then it didn't wind up going through. And then I was like, damn, oh, should I keep going with my business or like just stop this altogether? So that quote alone, I was like, okay, whatever, keep doing with what I'm doing. And then I started just doing it over and over, what I had to do, like what I was taught. And then I started making like just more sales, just more people started coming in. So even in those dark times, because it was like, oh man, I don't know what to do. I felt lost again. Like, you know what I say? Like constantly, it's like up, down, up, down with like, that's the pattern. And like my whole life has been that. So I was just hit with tests after tests. And I'm like, nah, Nick, just keep going. You'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. You'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like light always shines out darkness.
And it's not a train coming.
That's what I'm saying. It's just, man, you're just going to get through everything and then you're going to make it on the other side. So, and that's what I just kept doing. I just kept doing the work. I kept doing what got me to that very point. And then I just had to do more repetitions, more reps of it. Repetition is the mother of skill. Consistency breaks resistance. So I had to be more consistent to break through, like really make a crack in what I was doing. And then boom. Got just more people onto the team and whatnot. But I've been tested so many times, like even after that and on the journey, but I failed because I was still attached to the vices and all these things. I wasn't actually prepped and practicing what I'm preaching and preaching what I'm practicing now.
And, as I've heard it from a preacher, it's like we're always becoming in or out of a storm. So, we're always going to get tested. But as you build up that strength of all these previous tests you've had, you'll be able to get that much further through the next one and that much further and keep going that, it's like swimming, each time you're swimming in a lake or in an ocean, there's a bigger wave that's going to be coming. The more you swim, the stronger you are to get through that the next big wave. So, some great information there, some good positive information for people to overcome whatever hurdles they may have. What do you do to gain or keep your energy up? That's always a big one for people because, I'm tired, blah, blah, blah. Okay, as long as we're above the grass, on the green side of the grass and taking in air, we should have energy.
So I'll just hit the floor. That's why I tell myself all the time. I'm like, no, you're choosing to be in that state. You're choosing to be in a negative state. Go hit the floor. Go do push-ups. Go do burpees. Say the same thing for team members, even just like my parents or anybody. I'm like, can you please just hit the floor?
Yeah.
Just do some push-ups because like I can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
Like even if I'm at a party or whatever, like a get-together, I'm like, okay, let's just hit the floor because like you're being, like very negative. I can't take it. Like
the socialness of people, they go right to the negative first thing. How are you? And then you
I'm like, oh my God, no, I cannot deal with that. So that's what I do. Like if I start to get very tired, I'll hit the floor, do burpees, especially that's like the fastest way to raise your state back up. It goes into like vibration and frequencies. Your frequency is what you frequently see. So if you're constantly in that negative state, you're only looking at the problems. You're not looking at the solutions. You go and hit burpees until you feel like you're going to explode. Cause I'll do like 100 to 200 in the heat or push-ups all day until I'm back in that state. Then I see through a whole new lens. Then I'm only seeing the solutions.
Yeah. Awesome. That is awesome. That is great stuff. I like that. Wow. And that's, such I'll do the same thing. I'll just drop, 20 push-ups. I'll do 50 when I get up in the morning, 50 when I go to sleep. I try to do, a few extra, depending on how I feel and so forth. Just keep definitely minimum of the 50 to keep up. But yeah, you've got to do that. It does, the oxygen allows your brain to motivate you and keep you going. So great recommendations for people. Well, Nick, where can people find out more about you? Where can they get a hold of you? Let's let people know because you got some good information here and I want them to be able to follow you.
Yeah. So you can follow me on Instagram is going to be Nick Drivas Fit, NickDrivas, and then the word fit. The same goes for YouTube and my TikTok. I'm on there. And when you DM me, because you DM me for coaching, if you want the programs that I offer and whatnot, we talk there. DM me Savage is the word you can use, or you can just say you came from the podcast. But it is me talking to you. It is not a robot or some VA or any. It is me. You are talking to me because I get people that are like, "Oh, is it Nick? Is this really Nick?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's me." Like, who do you think it is?
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys can DM me there on Instagram. I'm the fastest there. And then we can get you on the team and talk about programs and whatnot to get you to your absolute best, feel the best, and look the best as well.
Well, awesome, Nick. Well, great stuff here today. Great energy. I appreciate what you're doing, not only for yourself, but for others in our world. We need that in our world. That's why I thought you'd be a great fit. Thanks for being a guest on the Encouragement Engineering podcast. I really appreciate your time, your information, and your energy. Keep up the great work for people. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for having me
on.
Oh,
not a problem.
Yeah, this was awesome. Love it.
Great. Well, thanks, Nick. You have a great day.
You too.
All right.